downtown St. Louis, where tonight it is game number 2 of this 3-game series between the Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals. On display in game number 2, 2 of the game's best hitters, both first basemen, Albert Pujols of the St. Louis Cardinals and the Rockies' Todd Helton. With my partner Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals Baseball here on FSN. And here tonight, Al, we get our first look at Larry Bigby, activated yesterday, and he makes a start tonight.
Well, he was acquired from Colorado in the Ray King deal. He's a left-handed hitter. He had the Achilles problem in spring training, missed an awful lot of time. He had a lot of flash and promise when he first got to the big leagues with Baltimore. He's never really lived up to that, and the Cardinals are going to get their first look at him during the regular season tonight.
Now, something that we did see last night, this Rockies team is for real, folks, and they are for real, Al, especially away from home.
And they've learned how to hit when they're away from home, and more importantly for Clint Hurdle, they've learned how to pitch. They have a very good, solid bullpen. They got a lot of good young hitters. They go out there and they play the game right, and right now they're feeling very good about themselves being in first place.
Well, the Cardinals, and you see that long home run hit last night off the bat of Matt Holliday. He had 2 last night. The Cardinals have DL'd Sidney Ponson. 2 off days coming up. It's not going to hurt them tremendously, and we get a look at the lefty out of the bullpen, Tyler Johnson.
Well, play a conservative approach with Sidney. Probably will come back and maybe, in 15 days definitely be ready to pitch in 10. But the interesting thing is Tony really craves and wants a second left-hander. So even though Tyler Johnson is coming up to replace Sidney Ponson, at the end of that 2 weeks, you don't know, or it's not a given that Tyler Johnson will go down. You have 8 relievers right now, 6 right-handers, 2 lefties. It would give a lot more balance and flexibility to keep the 2 lefties.
All right, we're going to continue that pitching theme when we come back here on FSN at Busch Stadium, where it's sold out again tonight. Big crowd is expected, and the rain has stayed away thus far. The starters tonight, a pair of right-handers, Josh Fogg and Chris Carpenter. We'll break down the matchup when we come back on FSN. Gorgeous night for baseball here at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Game 2 between the Cardinals and the Colorado Rockies. It's a pair of right-handers on the mound tonight. We start with Colorado and Josh Fogg. He has a record of 2-2, Al.
He's really struggled against the Cardinals in his career, the former Pirate. The one thing is getting a lot of sinking action on his sinker, but the one thing, the Cardinals have had good success, especially Pujols and Edmonds.
On the other side, it's the reigning Cy Young Award winner Chris Carpenter. That devastating curveball. He is 3-2, but he is coming off a loss against Houston.
Well, that's one of the reasons why you think he's starting to turn it around. He's such a perfectionist. He's such an outstanding competitor. And he didn't have it the last time, but you can look for him to get that ERA and even lower it from the 2.35.
So Josh Fogg 2-2 on the season, 2-1 though away from Coors Field, and Carpenter is 3-2. Those numbers a look at our Ford key matchup. More to come here on FSN. We'll go around Major League Baseball. When we come back, baseball just around the corner. We wait for the Cardinals to take to the field. In Major League Baseball tonight, Bond's going for history. He'll do that on the West Coast against the Cubs. We'll keep an eye on that. Houston at Los Angeles, Milwaukee and San Diego, and of course in the American League, Boston and New York. Packed house here in St. Louis. Baseball. We were supposed to have cold temperatures and rain tonight. Exactly the opposite. It is beautiful here in downtown St. Louis, and Busch Stadium packed house again. Clint Hurdle has got his team playing very good baseball. Identical records tonight, 20-13 for the Cardinals, 20-13 for the Colorado Rockies. And his team has been hitting away from Coors Field. That includes Matt Holliday, 8 career games against the Cardinals. He'll bat 5th tonight, a .500 average, 4 home runs. He picked 2 of those up in the ball game last night, a victory over St. Louis. That's a look at the Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the Colorado Rockies. And on the mound for the Cardinals, Chris Carpenter, and Carpenter, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, has a record of 3-2 on the year.
Chris Carpenter has pitched very well. He was not successful his last time out, but if you look at his past 6 starts, 2-2, but he's allowed just 8 runs and a 1.76 ERA, victimized by lack of some run support. And I wonder if all the lights are on as Tony La Russa and Joe West, the crew chief, are looking up over the Cardinal dugout. And some of the lights have not.
Well, take a look down the right field line.
I see it now.
And those are out, except for the top, very top bank. There's about 6 lights on down the right field line. Of course, we can't see behind us. down the left field line. That bank is completely on, but they're having problems with the ones on the right side of the field.
See, now discussing it, it's not so critical right now, and I think they're going to say, well, it'll take a little time for it to activate some of these mercury vapors or whatever high-tech lamps they are now, but I think they're saying, let's go ahead and start the game, and it's really not going to be that big of a disadvantage with this much daylight.
What is it with the Cardinals and these lights? We had a power outage in Florida, and it took a while, about 10-15 minutes for the lights to get back on. So
you'd think the marquee players, you know, they're used to having bright lights.
Yeah. So they're going to start this game with some of the lights out. And the first pitch by Carpenter is a strike to Corey Sullivan. He's hitting .311 with 1 home run and 6 RBIs. The center fielder for the Rockies. Curveball is in there for strike 2, and it's a beauty. We saw Carpenter in that last start out. You really took notice to this, is that he just didn't seem to have that physical presence and that mound presence that we normally see of Carpenter. 3 pitches, and he carves up Corey Sullivan, the first batter of this game.
Well, he's such a gunslinger, and when he's on top of his game, he has just outstanding demeanor on the mound. He didn't have that the last time out.
Auto tire defense behind Carpenter. Bigby gets his first Cardinal start. He's in left. Edmonds in center. Rodriguez is in right. Roland Eckstein, Miles, and Pujols on the infield. .978 fielding percentage. 5th best by a third baseman in the National League. And Yadier Molina is behind the plate. There's a look at Larry Bigby. Any team that has had him, they say, hey, he's a guy that you classify with a good arm, good speed. Hits from the left side, and a lot of teams have waited for him to bust out. Now the Cardinals are the latest.
Baltimore, then you had Colorado, and now St. Louis.
73 degrees tonight. That's 5 pitches, 5 strikes by Carpenter.
Well, you know, you could just see the quick pace of Carpenter, and that's what I'm talking about. Not only is he look determined on the mound, he's facing this young team, but just how little time he takes in between pitches. Gets the ball, fires.
Pitch is just outside to Jamie Carroll. Dave Duncan, the Cardinal pitching coach, who has been associated with many Cy Young Award winners, watching his latest. Chris Carpenter. Pitch misses in, and it's 3-2. Only time that he has faced Colorado, July 1st of 2005. 112 pitches in that game, and he pitched into the 8th.
Saw 5 hits allowed. 2 of those 5 hits were off the bat of Aaron Miles.
1 out walk to Carroll. And it brings in Todd Helton. With all the hits that Colorado had last night, Helton was pretty quiet. He was 0 for 5.
Doesn't happen often, does it? It's his first 0 for 5 since April 11th, 2004.
Figure the do factor is in with a guy like Todd Helton. He looks at strike 1. So important for that number 2 man in both of these lineups to get on in front of either Albert Pujols or this man, Todd Helton.
Albert and Todd tied for the second fastest to reach 1,000 base hits in their career.
It's pulled foul. No balls, 2 strikes. One thing about Todd Helton that will always be around him is the fact that he plays and hits in Coors Field. And people will say, well, Albert Pujols did it at Busch Stadium. It wasn't aided because of that ballpark. It's lifted down the left field line. Long way to go for Bigby. And Larry makes a nice catch. Good play by Larry Bigby in left.
I was talking with Jim Palmer before spring training, and I asked him about Larry Bigby. He said the one thing that's really going to surprise you is his running speed for a big guy, and it comes into play with that troublesome corner. Remember, he had the fractured heel, so they're probably not running as good as he will, but he's got the good arm defense, little long and slow in the bat, but he's got home run potential too.
Non-scared Atkins, cleanup man for the Rockies, hitting .328, 4 home runs and 19 driven in. The third baseman for Clint Hurdle. That was a good play. First time out there in left field. You really don't know the dimensions of the ballpark all that well. And he's near that side wall. He made a very good play. Good pitch that time by Carpenter. 0-2. Two former Rockies in the lineup, part of that trade with Ray King for Tony La Russa tonight. Larry Bigby in left and Aaron Miles at second base. There's the 0-2. Molina thought about going to first. Of course, he gunned down a runner last night. 5th time he has picked off a runner. Miles on the left, Bigby on the right. Runner is going, and it's a stolen base. Got a good jump. Stolen base for Atkins. Or rather, Jamie Carroll, excuse me. So runner at second base for Atkins. And a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes. Molina didn't have much of a shot either.
No,
he cleaned it.
And normally you don't get good jumps off of Carpenter, but that was one where Jamie Carroll stole his 5th base and had to jump off the pitcher.
2-2 pitch. Nasty curveball, but he doesn't get the call. And the count runs full on Garrett Atkins with Matt Holliday on deck.
Got one of the best in the league, pitching with runners in scoring position.
The second walk in the inning issued by Carpenter.
Right. Very uncharacteristic, and so is this.
Tony La Russa 40 and 45 in his career against the Rockies, and of course he's had all these championship teams in St. Louis, while the Rockies have played pretty poor baseball in Tony's tenure.
But they've played very well even at the Old Busch Stadium, and you never knew. They had a distinct advantage playing at Coors because they had the last at bat.
Cardinals, it seems like, have never, ever played well at Coors Field. Now, a couple of years ago, they did, I think, sweep that series, but that was the first time they had won a series at Coors, maybe ever. But they have not had great numbers there. No balls, 1 strike. Runners at first and second. And Holliday hits it high in the air out to center field. The Rockies will strand 2. Cardinals have Eckstein, Rodriguez, and Pujols in their half of the first. Larry Bigby, a nice play in his Cardinal debut in left. No score, bottom of the first here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals and the Rockies in game number 2 of their 3-game series. Cardinals lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Eckstein, Rodriguez, and Pujols, followed by Edmonds, Rowland, Bigby, Molina, Miles, and Carpenter. 529 in the last 10 days for J-Rod. And Josh Fogg is the Rico starter for the Rockies.
Spent the last 4 seasons with the Pirates, so they know this guy very well. He's 29 years of age. 1-8 overall when facing the Cardinals. ERA almost 8.5.
This Cardinal lineup shut down last night by Jeff Francis. He was terrific for the Rockies. Eckstein is hitting .290, 1 ball, 1 strike. Josh Fogg has a fastball that'll get in that 91, 92 mile-an-hour range. Curveball, slider, also a changeup. And many times, if he has success, it is defined by his curveball and able to locate that for strikes.
Well, they're getting a lot of good sinking action, life out of the sinker.
That pitch was up to David Eckstein, and he hits a rope out to left.
And one of the new little wrinkles is he's looks like he's eliminated the slider.
Rockies defense brought to you by Auto Tire. Holliday, Sullivan, Hop in the outfield, Atkins, Barmes, Carroll, and Helton on the infield. Ojeda's behind the plate. And here's John Rodriguez hitting .429 on the year. You see Fogg struggles to field his position. I think you wonder if the Cardinals might use that to their advantage tonight.
We've seen that in the past. He's already committed 3 errors this year. And by the way, the Rockies are playing very good defensively. They have not committed an error in 8 straight games.
Fundamentally sound last night. Take a look at the play in right by Brad Hopp. Start the game defensively for the Rockies. The fact that they took a couple of extra bases on throws that came back into the infield is little things that help you win ball games, Al.
Sign of maturity. They got some talent. Now they're starting to feel confident that they can beat teams. They've been in first place in the West for 26, 27 days.
A count of 1 ball, 1 strike on John Rodriguez. Broken bat, hit to second base. Carroll, Farmas on to first, double play. 4-6-3 on the double play. 2 outs, nobody on, and it brings in Albert Pujols.
Albert is hit .407, 11 for 27 with 3 home runs and 13 RBIs when facing Josh Fogg.
Albert is homered in 9 of the team's first 11 series. On the season, Pujols was 16, 38 driven in, and a .315 batting average. 1 ball, 1 strike. The player of the month for April, Albert Pujols. Outfield shades him a bit to pull, very deep. Pujols hits it hard past the third baseman, ate him up. That's Atkins. Albert around first. He is thinking 2, digging. And he's in there with a double. That ball absolutely ate up Garrett Atkins at third base. Playing it to the side, Al. We've talked about that the last couple of nights. How it's become popular, it seems like, in Major League Baseball, and he was backing up, playing it to the side, and it just ate him up.
Well, for exactly this reason, because if it gets by you, it's a base hit. If it takes a bad hop and hits you, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to be a glancing blow, but I sure like the old-fashioned way where you square up to a ball. You try and, square up to it. If it takes a bad hop, it hits you in the chest, it falls your feet, you still have time to pick him up, throw the guy out.
It's .240 batting average for Edmonds, the highest since after the season opener.
But he has also hit Josh Fogg very well, even better than Albert Pujols, a .412 average, 7 for 17 and 2 home runs.
One almost hit him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Edmonds, 5-game hitting streak coming into play tonight, 7 for his last 16.
Score early.
A double by Albert. He stands at second base. And Edmonds holds up. 2-1. Just get the feeling, Al, that even though Edmonds is off to the slow start, you'll look up at the end of the year and he'll be hitting .280, .290. Wind up with 25, 30 home runs and drive in 80 to 90 RBIs. Out to right center field, and the Cardinals grab an early lead. Edmonds picks up the RBI, his 23rd, and the Cardinals lead it here in the first, 1-0.
They haven't scored a lot for Carpenter recently, so they kind of owe him a couple victories. But anytime you can jump out on top, put a little pressure on a young team, they're feeling good about themselves. But you also got a pitcher that has struggled against the Cardinals, and particularly Pujols and Edmonds. So these two have to step it up.
And really, the misplay at third costs Colorado here in the first. All he has to do is knock that down, and we're still scoreless.
Well, you know what? He had enough time to take 2 or 3 steps backwards. Why not take 2 or 3 steps forward?
Or 2 or 3 to his right.
Yeah, I mean that way and come in, but anytime you let the ball play you, you're in trouble.
Here's Scott Rowland. Well hit out to right center field. Sullivan back near the track, and he puts it away. Jim Edmonds picks up RBI number 23, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0. Tonight's broadcast is also available in high definition in the St. Louis area on Charter Communications. Channel 792. Cardinals with a lead of 1-0. Edmonds picks up the RBI. 1 pitch and 1 out. Brad Hopp is retired. Jim Edmonds, who had a single and a sac fly on Monday, Al has now reached base 11 times in the past 6 games as he extends his hit streak to 6 here tonight. He's starting to heat it up.
I don't think there's any doubt what you said. It's all said and done. We'll be very pleased with his numbers. This guy would. You think Barmes would have been the Rookie of the Year last year? He wouldn't have gotten hurt.
Undoubtedly.
He was off to a phenomenal start.
I don't think it would have been close. He grew up about 3 hours from St. Louis, did Barmes, and he rips it past Scott Rowland. Looked like it may have just glanced his glove. Bigby over to get it near the side wall, and Clint Barmes picks up a double. He was a Cardinals fan growing up. Ozzie Smith, his favorite player. Played at Olney Community College in Illinois before focusing strictly on baseball at Indiana State, the Missouri Valley Conference, and Rowland almost took away the extra base hit.
Must have been right out on the fingertips because that ball looked like it changed directions. Barmes been struggling a little bit, but he got a double on Sunday. He rested yesterday's ball game, but he has gone now 4 for his last 32 over the last 8 games. His average had dipped from 284 to 235 before that double.
One out and a runner at second, and now Miguel Ojeda, the catcher, number 8 man in this lineup. Neat story about Barmes, one that I know you'll love. Fantasy camp for the Rockies. And prior to the 2005 season for Clint Barmes, his dad was a camper. So his dad came back out to the camp, and Clint said that his dad was his coach growing up. Used to pitch in batting practice in the backyard. That must have been a thrill for those two.
I remember one time we had 3 generations at the Cardinals fantasy camp. Grandfather, father, and 2 grandsons.
That's great.
Went from 72 to 30.
Pitch a little low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
What's with this guy, Ojeda? He's 10 for 21, a .476 career against the Cardinals.
Pitch outside. Carpenter walked 2 in the first, falls behind here. 2 balls and no strikes. Ojeda's been with San Diego and Seattle, and now with Colorado. 2-1 pitch. Count of 3-1. Josh Fogg, the pitcher on deck, runner at second base. 1 out here in the top of the second. Cardinals leading 1-0. And the 3rd walk handed out by Carpenter.
Totally uncharacteristic. He only walked 7 in April, and he's already walked 5 in May, and this is his 2nd start.
And now what's kind of odd about it too, he is 8 of 8 on first pitch strikes. So when he gets ahead more times than not, he's going to put you away. But 3 times he has lost the hitter, and he's walked 3 so far. With the pitcher up, Pujols along with Rowland in on the grass. Pujols will charge, and it's bunted foul. Monday's win for the Rockies, by the way, tied now with the Cardinals for the league's 3rd best record. They are playing very good baseball.
Good baseball. Got 2nd best record on the road, 11-5 on the road. Josh not much of a hitter, and Albert very aggressive as he's charging home plate.
Charging again. It's bunted though towards the 3rd base side. Carpenter on it. Fires to Miles, who's covering. The sacrifice is good. 1-4. The runners advance to 2nd and 3rd. Well, Carpenter has a 1.71 ERA here at the New Busch Stadium. And Al, only twice all year has he walked more than just 1 batter in a game. That's how uncharacteristic it has been to see Carpenter walk 3 so far. Back to the top of the order. Here's Corey Sullivan. Struck out to start the game.
Curveball kind of casting it out there, spinning, not pulling down on it.
ball, 1 strike.
Much better curveball that time.
Boston leads the Yankees 5-2. That's in the 4th. So Scott Rowland is playing way in with 2 outs and runners at 2nd and 3rd. Outfield is shallow straight away. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Already 33 pitches in 2 innings for Carpenter. It's lifted foul out of play. Talked about the lights and the problems here at Busch Stadium. You can see how well lit it is in left and in right. That may turn into a problem before the night is through. Here comes a 2-2 pitch. Pulled foul.
Yeah, we talk about all the time and how these lights are so bright that you really don't even do justice on television. And now looking out to the naked eye, it's a lot considerably darker out in right field than what it even looked like on the on the television screen.
It's lifted foul out of play. I saw between innings that some of the folks that help run Busch Stadium visiting with the umpires. See where the shadows are already for Edmonds out center.
You don't see that at night, do you?
Nope. 2-2. He got it. 2 strikeouts on the night for Chris Carpenter, both of Corey Sullivan. 2 innings in the books for the Rockies offensively, and they have stranded 4. They trail 1-0. Who's raising the bar? Which rules should be changed throughout Major League Baseball? DH, interleague play, unbalanced schedule, arbitration, expansion. Who's raising the bar? Question. At some point, Al, this lights situation is going to become a serious problem if it's not corrected. You can see a major difference now, even in the last 5 minutes, with how dark it is in right field compared to left.
My first major league win was in Chicago when I pitched the 16th and 17th innings of a 3 o'clock start. There's a little bit of a mismatch because that was before lights at Wrigley.
Larry Bigby making his Cardinal debut tonight. Look at the pitcher's face. You can see the shadow on his left. It's a count of 1-2 on Larry Bigby. Former Rocky looks at strike 3. First strikeout for Josh Fogg, and it bring in Yadier Molina. Now, at what point do you think the umpires step in and talk amongst themselves and then bring in the managers to decide whether or not to continue playing?
Oh, it's been going on. And I would be very surprised, as Joe West is a crew chief, I think there's electricians up into trying to work on that bank of lights over the Cardinal dugout. But
the ground ball hit to second base, taken by Jamie Carroll.
Be very surprised, as they know the electricians are working up there, but I'd be very surprised if Clint Hurdle doesn't go out there and say, wait a minute, guys, you know, you're getting my team hurt, you know, has the potential to get hurt. The interesting question is, could you forfeit this game with the Cardinals being, you know, liable for not having their field in playing condition?
Another former Rocky, Aaron Miles. One ball, one strike. And Miles hits it up the middle, and it's a base hit. Cardinals with their 4th hit tonight. Aaron Miles just sneaks one through.
Right up the middle, gets by Fogg, and Jamie Carroll, the second baseman, got a glove on it, but didn't
haul it in.
So Miles is the runner at first, and now it's Carpenter. Cardinals with a lead of 1-0 and an RBI by Edmonds. Just joining us, the bank of lights down the right field line and first base line are out. Half the field is a little dark. This game be stopped after Carpenter. See what he does here, but do you even go back out for the third?
Well, that's what I said. It'd be an advantage to the pitchers. Throw to hitters that can't see.
Swing and a miss by Chris Carpenter.
Find out.
Third inning coming up. Cardinals lead it 1-0. Cardinals are offering a limited edition inaugural game print featuring the aerial view of the ballpark in St. Louis skyline from opening day. Order today for $98 by calling 345-9000 or STLCardinals.com. Chris Carpenter has taken his warm-up tosses. He finishes those, and now the umpires converge and are trying to figure out exactly as to whether or not we're going to continue play. Clint Hurdle has requested a meeting with Joe West.
Well, it's just like I said. They're thinking they're starting to make progress. You see the power going on, but as I said, Clint Hurdle's going to sit there and he's going to, he make Carpenter do something that he didn't want to do, but Joe West trying to speed it up. And I'll tell you one thing, those electricians were right on schedule.
Sure were. But John Rodriguez, the Cardinal outfielder in right, is standing in darkness just about here at Busch Stadium.
Are the ones in right field starting to heat up? Like the block in right field still is not active, so you wonder if they have to go from tower to tower.
Yep. We continue play. Here's Jamie Carroll. Carroll, his first time up, walked, stole a base. And it's 0-2. It's hard enough to hit against Chris Carpenter, much less with no lights. The 0-2 pitch. Tapped left side, a swinging bunt, and no play for Scott Rowland. Carroll will reach with that 0-2 pitch. So he's on base for the second time. Carroll can get down the line pretty quickly.
He's kind of reaching for the ball, and so it kind of got him in reaching and then starting to stride, and he's quick enough. Get there with the infield single. Scott didn't have anything to do. And put it in his pocket.
Todd Helton 0 for 6 in this series. Line to left his first time up.
One of the things, it looks like Todd Helton is choked up right now. Looking up on the bat a little bit. You usually don't see that, I don't think. Popping everything up.
Popped up a mile high. All the outs have been in the air off the bat of Todd Helton.
Fly balls, you're exactly right. I was taking note of that too.
And Al, he was 0 for 5 last night. 3 times he flied to left. 1 time he flied to center. Another time he popped out to the third baseman. And tonight he's flied to left and popped out to the second baseman. And the lights, at least that one bank, is starting to come on.
That one's come on. They'll be going over to the next one, then the next one. The game might be over.
There's Garrett Atkins. He walked his first time up. It's a hot shot to Rowland. That's one. On to first. Safe. It took out Miles hard at second base. Clean baseball. He couldn't quite turn it.
Jamie Carroll still standing at second base. So let's go look here. They are not. They said he was straddling the bag, I think, and called him safe. Joe West at second base. Joe's doing this so the lights can take more effect. Instead of the vicinity play, I think he's saying he straddled the bag and never touched the bag for the force out.
Well, you rarely see that, because how many times do you see a guy turn it out, but even it's almost like the phantom tag, even with their legs. It's like a phantom stepping on the bag.
Yep, see right there, he is correct. And before the game, we saw Okendo, who is the best infield instructor. Now, he kind of showed him exactly to do that, but he's dragging his toe onto the bag for the force play. And Hosey's talking about different things like that, but in that case, I think you saw that Miles did not touch the base, so Joe West was correct, but it's one of those plays that most of the time, just, if you're in the vicinity, they give you the benefit of the doubt.
Throw beat you there. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be out. This is a good pick by Roland on a tough play in the short hop. He never touched the bag.
No, he straddled on both sides, and you saw right away Joe West signaled safe and was looking right down on the play and the footwork of Aaron Miles.
Runners at first and second now. Holliday. 2 home runs last night. This one popped up. Foul territory. Pujols with room, and he makes the catch. Here Jose Okendo down there out of the dugout trying to help out Albert Pujols. Standing on that top step.
He kind of likes to plant himself at that far end of the dugout. But in that case, he's barking out to Albert, telling him he's fine, he's got plenty of room. And then he'll watch the runners and say if Albert needed to make a throw to first or to third base, get it back in the infield.
Well, I was asking Jose, I said, do you work with Encarnacion? I mean, if you see anything with Pujols offensively, do you talk to those guys? He said, nope, I'm strictly defense. We could hear Okendo from up here, and let's take a listen.
That's Puerto Rican Spanish. I learned my Spanish in Mexico.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Up and in to Brad Hopp, 2-0. Grounded to second first time up, 1-0 St. Louis. Rockies have stranded 4 in the first 2 innings. Jeopardy of stranding 6 here in the first 3 if Carpenter can get out of it. 2 balls, 1 strike. We'll have afternoon baseball for you tomorrow. Jeff Suppan against Byung-Hyun Kim, former Diamondbacks closer. Suppan is 3-2. Kim is 1-0. On the air at 11:30 with the Cardinal pregame show. Time is called. Pop last night, a couple of RBIs. He was on base twice with 2 singles. It's 3-1. Rockies have held at least a share of the National League West lead for 26 days this season. Monday they climbed 7 games above 500 for the first time in 6 seasons. Good pitch. Almost thrown into center field. Ghana's full now. It's 3-2 with runners at first and second, and those runners will be off with the pitch.
No differences between amateur baseball and big league baseball is the ability, if you set a target too soon, hitters, and we know they peak, they do different things, so you want to set it late.
There's a 3-2. This is inside, bases loaded. 4 walks handed out by Carpenter.
That might have been a little later than what you normally would think. But a lot of times you watch a catcher, he'll set early and then he'll tap his glove trying to tell a hitter that I'm on the inside part of the plate. and then late he'll move and shift to the outside, thinking the hitter will still think that he's going to come in.
Ball outside to Barmes, who doubled first time up off the glove of Scott Rowland. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Foul back. The lights are heating up, Al.
Yeah, got one bank to go. John Rodriguez said, nobody loves me. Keeping him in the dark.
Bases loaded. 1-1 pitch. Outside 2-1. Barmes was at Indiana State. He told a local radio reporter that if he ever made it to the show, he'd return with a souvenir. Came back a couple years later, and there he was with the Rockies jersey as he showed up the doorstep of that host house. Said, here you go, I made it. Indiana State product. Sycamores. Clint Barmes. There's a 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Ground ball. Hit to Eckstein. He bobbles. Shuffles to Miles, and the run will score. Game is tied 1-1. E6. Air charge to David Eckstein. The defense has let down Carpenter so far here in the third.
I got him reaching for a ball. He rolls over the top. Eckstein comes in and watch his left leg just, instead of planting, it just slid, and that got him off balance, and he commits the error. Then he tries to shovel pass it to Miles. It's a little bit wide, no further damage, but defense has let down Carpenter this inning.
Now it's Ojeda. Bases loaded, 1-1 game. 2 errors charged to the Cardinals tonight. Carpenter should be out of this inning.
A couple times. One to Miles and one to Eckstein.
Pitches by inning. Carpenter already approaching 60. A 1-1 game here in St. Louis. Top of the third, bases loaded, 2 down. Ojeda walked his first time up, falls behind now, 0-2.
You could say that Carpenter should be out of the inning, but by the same token, a lot of his problems have been created by his 4 walks and the high pitch count.
Carpenter is struck out 2. Here comes the 0-2 pitch outside. Ojeda's hitting .265, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs on the year. One ball, 2 strikes, bases loaded. The next from Chris Carpenter. Got him. Rockies strand the bases loaded. They do pick up a run. And it's 1-1. This date in baseball history is brought to you by Schnucks. Cardinals outfielder Roger Maris hits his first National League home run May 9th, 1967. You could not pay me enough money to do what that gentleman is doing right there.
Up. Where's the safety belt? Where's OSHA?
We can see him from our booth, and that looks scary, to say the least.
No, what would be scary is if this game got postponed and had to hear Tony La Russa tell you what he thought of your abilities as an electrician. That might be scarier.
No, I think the guy on the ladder is scarier. I'll take the abuse.
Oh, you're used to it, huh?
Here's Eckstein, and he hits it out to right center. David is 1 for 2. First 20,000 women 16 and over with a paid admission receive a Tab Energy Deerberg's Canvas tote bag. Compliments of Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Cardinals and Deerbergs. For tickets, log on to stlcardinals.com. Click on the Prime Seat Club.
We got to send a cameraman up there. Get that view.
Sure they appreciate that, Al. Then the next thing you know, they're going to say, why don't you broadcast from up there?
I'll go up there. I'll go up there.
Hey, by all means. Rodriguez pulls it to Todd Helton. Good play. Flips to his pitcher, covering it first. And there's 2 outs, and it brings in Pujols, who doubled and scored his first time up.
Hey, they're starting to come on. Nice going, gentlemen.
Get sick to my stomach. It's high, Al. Makes me nervous. I guess it's got to be
lower than the arch.
It's got to be a little different than going to your basement when the lights go out at your house. Of course, June probably does it for you, doesn't she, Al?
I stay up, watch fireworks.
Pujols hits it hard again to third. Taken by Atkins. And the Cardinals go 1-2-3. 1-1 here at Busch. Lewis, where the lights are now on. You hungry, Al?
Absolutely. And right here in the Redbird Club?
I believe so.
Right behind our broadcast booth.
1-1, Colorado and St. Louis. It's the pitcher, Josh Fogg. Fogg, Sullivan, and Carroll. Bruce Carpenter has turned into quite a story while wearing that Cardinal uniform. 49-50 in Toronto from 1997 till 2002. Won 15 games for the Cardinals in 04. Last year, 21-5. He wins the Cy Young Award. You add it all up, he's 39-12 since joining St. Louis. 3-2 this year.
Carpenter just saying he looks like he's coming back out and trying to work fast, but that was a 3-1 pitch to the pitcher. There he gets it.
4th strikeout on the night for Carpenter. Back to the top of the order. And Corey Sullivan, who has struck out twice against the Cardinals starter. Carpenter was touched for 4 runs in 6 innings in his last outing. A loss against the Astros. But still has been the Cardinals' most consistent pitcher. Averaged nearly 7 strikeouts in his 7 starts prior to tonight. And he's been pitching nearly 8 innings in those starts, 6 2/3.
Mulder is average 6 2/3. Marquis has gotten the least amount of run support and averaging 6 innings per start.
The 1-1 is hit to Albert Pujols. A race down the first base line, and he gets it. Jimmy Carroll will dig in. It's time for the Aflac trivia question.
Aflac!
Lou Brock had 11,240 plate appearances. How many times did he ground into a double play? The Aflac trivia question. Right back to Carpenter. And he'll enjoy his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Cardinals have the middle of the order coming up. Edmonds, Roland, and Aflac trivia question concerning the Hall of Famer Lou Brock. How many times did he ground into a double play? 114 and over 11,000 plate appearances as Edmonds hits it hard on the first pitch, but right at the left fielder, Matt Holliday. And Jimmy is 1 for 2 with an RBI. Get a lot of questions about this, Al. When would the Buck statue go up, and also the recognition here at the ballpark for the retired numbers and remembering the all-time greats in Cardinals history, and Jack Buck, and the microphone is up out there in the right center field brick wall.
And it makes a big difference. Remember when we first saw it, they just had the numbers, and they didn't have the red circle behind it with the names. And so it started, you know, every time you come around here, there's something a little more dressed out. Still a work in progress. And we got some, we got 200 tickets, field box and loge box for tomorrow afternoon.
200 for tomorrow afternoon. Matter of fact, the 29th is when it really picks up. There are good seats available as they'll open up the seats down the left field line.
All those seats are sold beyond July the 2nd, because that's when they expected it to be open. But there's still a bunch of them for as early as May 29th, and that's when Houston comes into town. So I want to make sure this Busch Stadium 3 is filled to the rafters.
Inside to Roland, 2-2. He fly to deep center field, first time up. Larry Bigby, making his Cardinal debut tonight, is waiting on deck. A 1-1 game here in the bottom of the fourth. Just got a piece. Talking with Scott on the pregame show, he said his shoulder is still a work in progress. Treatment daily on that. Still trying to work it up to 100%. He said he's pretty much at 100. They're trying to get there day by day. 2-2 pitch. Again, he just gets a piece. He was fooled by it.
Yeah, but I think most people felt that if he was able to play every day in June, they'd be pretty happy. And now he's playing every day from the start of the season.
Here's a 2-2 pitch.
Josh Fogg doesn't look like a guy that's 1-8 against the Cardinals with a high ERA.
Lone win over the Cardinals came on May 31st of 2002. Cardinal hitters came in hitting .369 against him in those 12 starts. Roland hits it out to right. The catch is made by Hopp. Back here tomorrow afternoon. Matter of fact, tomorrow morning with the pregame show. Game 3 of this 3-game set, and the off day on Thursday. Cardinals and the Rockies tomorrow at 11:30 with the pregame and the play-by-play at noon.
Bigby, all these guys in here because Fogg has had trouble this year against left-handed batters.
Bigby struck out looking first time up. The 1-0 pitch inside, 2-0.
I missed the last 10 days of spring training with that fracture left heel, and then the first 32 games of regular season. He spent the 20 days down in the rehab, but struck out nearly 40% of the time.
2-0 is hit towards first. Held a diving stop. Takes a hit away from Bigby. He robs his former teammate. Good play by Todd Helton. 5th inning coming up from Busch. All tied up in 1. 1-1 game, top of the 5th, and we always talk about Todd Helton, what he can do offensively. Here he takes an extra base hit away from Larry Bigby. A diving stop with the pitcher covering. And of course, last night he was showing off the leather as well. The first pitch by Carpenter is taken for a ball. This is last night. And Helton made a great pick on this play. With the soft hands over at first.
I mentioned former Gold Glove winner. Very good athlete in general.
Elton is the all-time franchise leader in just about every offensive category for the Rockies.
One of only 5 players in Major League history to possess a .330 career batting average, 400 on-base percentage, and 600 slugging percentage. He joins Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, and Albert Pujols.
Leadoff walk to Todd Helton. That's 5 walks issued by Carpenter tonight. 5.
That's got to be near, you would think, his career high in walks.
Certainly his St. Louis career high. There's Garrett Atkins. Coach Jason Marquis took the loss last night. It's a high strike inside corner to Atkins. He's 0 for 2. Lost to the Rockies on Monday marked the 6th time Marquis 7 starts where the Cardinals failed to score more than 4 runs out. You're talking about run support. That one is hit out to Edmonds. He'll make the catch. But you compare the start for Jason Marquis to a season ago. After his first 7 starts, he was 5-1. His record now stands at 3-4.
I was really wrong on the walks. You realize he walked 5 one time last year? It was in May. And you know what Carpenter's career high in walks is? Probably 9.
With Toronto.
August 16th, 1999.
Here's Holliday. He shoots it into right. Boy, he's put up some numbers against the Cardinals.
Well, he came in hitting .500 with 4 home runs against the Cardinals. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Seeing some of the home run pitches he hit last night, it made me believe he's a low ball hitter. And another pitch that's down, slicing it into right field.
He's now 15 for 31 against the Cardinals in his career. 4 home runs, 5 RBIs. Brad Hopp takes a ball outside, a little low.
Hopp is the National League leader in average with games on the road this year, a .443 average.
This one is hit down the left field line. Bigby over to get it. Makes the catch on the track. There's a couple good plays that Bigby has made out there and left.
Had a good jump on that ball, tracking into the corner.
Two outs, and here's Clint Barmes. Now maybe we should have seen this coming with Holliday. He had 64 RBIs after the All-Star break a year ago. That was second only to Chase Utley. And he finished with a .307 batting mark. And Holliday has just carried that over to what's happening now here in 2006. Barmes has been on base twice, 1 for 2, reached on an error. Cost the Cardinals a run, with the bases loaded back in the 3rd. Of course, we've seen Carpenter a lot more sharp than we have tonight, probably in that start against Houston as well, but still he keeps his team in it.
Not only that, but he should have a shutout going. He's allowed 1 run, but it was the unearned run. Those 2 errors were committed in that inning, only 1 hit.
Little broken bat, a flare out to shallow right, backing up the second baseman Miles. He'll put it away. Midway through the 5th, and we're tied up 1-1. Coming up later tonight, it's the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report. Cardinals postgame coverage and all the sports news and notes following the ball game here at Busch Stadium on the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report. Yadier Molina. Cardinals with 4 hits tonight. Colorado with just 3, and it's a 1-1 game. If the Cardinals were to tweak this team out, you'd have to look at, I think, offense. The pitching is going to be there, but offensively, they are not the club that they were a couple of years ago.
Well, that's, to me, is very obvious, and you can.
As Molina hits this one out to deep left and over the head of Matt Holliday, and Molina will try to into second base. Almost like he was surprised that it got hit that far out to him. Then he reacted and couldn't make the play.
I thought he got a very poor jump on it, and which, like you said, probably surprised him that it came out so quickly. Line drive, jumps out there. See, it's kind of flat-footed. Now he recognized he has to go back on the ball, and it got a little bit behind him and can't make the catch, so the Cardinals got a good start. I'm not worried about Molina, you know, I mean, because of his catch and throw. Anything you get from him offensively is going to be a plus, and I still think he's going to have decent offensive numbers. But there are areas where you really have to be a little bit concerned, and that's assuming that you're going to get your normal contribution from Rowan and Edmonds and people like that.
We've got the pitcher on deck here. Miles has a base hit. He singled up the middle first time up.
As a pitcher, you kind of dissect a batting order, and you'll see your troublesome spots. We all know they're going to try and pitch around an Albert Pujols. That's why it's important to have guys hitting in front of them, hitting behind them. As a pitcher, too, you kind of know where, okay, if I get into a jam, this is the guy I can get out. This is where I do my Houdini and escape.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Miles looks at strike two. Now the third baseman, Garrett Atkins, will back up, play normal depth.
Sometimes it makes a difference, too, when you've got some of the guys in the lineup, like a Miles and a Eckstein, that you really think of, okay, if they do anything against me, it's only going to be a single.
Outfield, Al, is very shallow, and with the speed of Molina, it's going to be tough to score him.
You can't score him. Unless the ball gets by an outfielder.
As slow as he is, Jose Oquendo says that Yadier Molina gets one of the best jumps, if not the best jump, of any of the base runners. He says he reads a play as well as anybody, but he just doesn't have the speed.
Yeah, he can get started.
Back to Fogg, and Miles is retired.
There was a good example right there. What you're talking about is seeing a lot of guys get trapped off on a ball like that. And especially Molina has to take your secondary leans, but he recognizes that ball's right back. It's going back to second base. Especially when you don't have any speed, it's hard to get back after you make a fatal mistake.
Now it's Carpenter. The runner at second base. We're tied up 1-1 here in the Cardinals half of the fifth. Carpenter does have an RBI on the season, and he's hitting .067.
That was his first at bat of the year. Sliced a double, an RBI in Philadelphia.
Josh Fogg has left the mound with 5 runs charged to him in each of his last 3 starts. This one is hit to third. They'll look back Molina. And that'll bring in David Eckstein with 2 outs, the Cardinal leadoff man. Cardinals thus far have stranded 2 in this game, and you take a look at what Colorado has done. Could be a very telling stat before the night is through. They've already left 9 on in the first 5 innings of play. They've had some shots at Chris Carpenter. You don't get many.
He's bent, but not broken. And usually when the Cardinals are this lopsided, they win the game.
Eckstein takes a ball in the dirt outside. David singled first time up. He's also flying to center, 1 for 2. Very short lead by Molina, now extended a little bit.
And you can see where the middle infielders are. But still very difficult to score him. Because David's going to hit. Well, you don't think he's going to get his share of home runs, but most of the time he's going to get a single. He's the team leader and hits with 38. Also multi-hit games with 12.
Again, the outfield, worth noting, very shallow out there, so single is going to be tough yet again to score Yadier Molina from second base. Eckstein trying to extend the inning to John Rodriguez, who waits on deck. Three balls, one strike. The Cardinal leadoff man, David Eckstein, world champion, of course, with Anaheim in his second year with St. Louis. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Right on it, fouled back. And a sold-out crowd here tonight at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Along with Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin, our Bud Productions crew. I thought we were supposed to get poured on tonight, and the rain has stayed away.
Got new foul poles, and the umpires have a problem with them again.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Did not go around. And Eckstein draws the walk. Runners at first and second. And the batter will be Rodriguez. You've talked to the umpires about the foul poles?
Well, it's not necessarily the foul poles, but they have a funky little screen that is netting, and they feel that because remember they're a little bit off center. It's not so much that screen, but there's one down below where remember they had that bar we talked about down at the base of them, and they said that you won't be able to distinguish whether it's a home run or foul ball. Foul territory right behind. There it is right there. You see this netting right there. It's netting like a batting cage, and you're saying how the umpire is going to be able to hear or distinguish, because the pole is kind of set off line.
0-2 the count on John Rodriguez. 1-1 game here in the bottom of the fifth. 2 outs, runners at first and second. Rodriguez tonight is grounded into a double play and grounded out to Todd Helton over at first. 0 for 2. In the hole here, 0-2. The next by Fogg, way upstairs.
And the reason you see Bigby and Rodriguez, but particularly Bigby in there, is because left-handed batters have hit .321 against Josh Fogg coming in. Rodriguez done an outstanding job hitting in front of Albert. And
1-2 pitch, got him up with an off-speed pitch. Rodriguez strikes out. It's number 3 on the night for Fogg. Flavor of what's happened here tonight. Welcome back to Busch Stadium. A 1-1 game as Chris Carpenter back to work for the St. Louis Cardinals. Miguel Ojeda and the pitcher Josh Fogg and the top of the order. The Rockies have stranded 9 runners tonight and just 3 hits though against Chris Carpenter. Carpenter has walked 5. His curveball has been sharp more times than not tonight. 0-2 the count. Pittsburgh leading Arizona top of the ninth. So we get a look at the National League Central scoreboard. 3-0 there. Paulino 2 for 4 with a home run. Washington on top of Cincinnati. That's in the bottom of the 7th. 6-1. Royce Clayton 3 for 3. Ryan Zimmerman with a home run. Chicago at San Francisco later tonight. And Barry Bonds, we get word, is in the lineup. He'll bat 4th and play left field. Houston at Los Angeles, Pettit against Jay So. Milwaukee at San Diego, Davis and Hensley. Here's a 1-2 pitch. This is inside.
The Cubs lost 7 in a row.
Kerry Wood made a rehab start last night, struck out 12. They've been trying to keep their head above water and waiting for those pitchers to come back healthy. Kerry Wood along with Mark Pryor. And again, another full count.
Wade Miller and Derek Lee.
Yeah.
You know, outstanding first baseman.
86 pitches thrown by Chris Carpenter already tonight. Miguel Ojeda has struck out with the bases loaded back in the third and walked, and he draws another walk. That's number 6 tonight, issued by Carpenter. Coming up on Friday night, prior to the contest with Arizona, it's the FSN Baseball Report. We've got the pregame at 6:30, and the FSN Baseball Report at 6. Tony La Russa will be a guest on the FSN Baseball Report this Friday at 6. Don't want to miss it. A leadoff walk, walk number 6 issued by Carpenter. Now the pitcher up in a sacrifice situation. Bunt is down. Molina going to second and throws it into center field, and everybody is safe. Cardinals defense has not been good tonight.
Third
Their
error.
third error.
And this time I think it's just Molina thinks, well, it's a catcher running, so I'll go out there. But he really had no legitimate shot, especially with nobody out in the inning. You got to be assured of getting one. And he throws it away and puts a bind on his pitcher. Corey Sullivan is an excellent bunter.
First pitch, I guess, a little low. Sullivan struck out twice and then grounded out. Look at that Rockies in-game box score at the top of your screen. 1-1 game, runners at first and second here in the top of the 6th. And here comes Colorado again. Bunt is down. Molina, does he go to third? Yes. He's got the lead man.
That time it was good judgment. Ball just a couple feet from the home plate, still in the dirt area. And now with the catcher running, it makes sense to get the lead man at third. That's what their attempt was with the defense. And Molina, who's just done an outstanding job throwing, made a mistake, but Chris Carpenter's the kind of guy that's not going to bury his team. He's going to try and pick them up and make sure that error doesn't come back to haunt.
There's Jamie Carroll on base twice tonight. Run scored. Grounded back to Carpenter last time up. Looks at strike one. This is where you'd love to see the double play. It's going to be tough because Carroll runs pretty well, but you do have Todd Helton on deck. First and second here in the top of the 6th, 1-1 game. Nothing in 2.
Jimmy Carroll becoming that super sub. This is 8th straight game he started.
See if Carpenter can't put him away. He's walked 6. And the strikeouts tonight only 4. Mentioned early on he was getting ahead in the count, but then eventually losing these hitters. Ahead on Carroll, nothing in 2.
Sometimes you get ahead and you think the young team over aggressive will swing at pitches out of the strike zone.
How about a double play? Miles, Eckstein, first base, got him. Double play. And Helton left on deck. A look at Miles on the double play against his former team, 4-6-3. Bottom of the 6th coming up. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. Tomorrow, Jeff Suppan will get the start for the Cardinals. He was excellent in his last start. That was against Florida. Pre-game at 11:30. We'll come your way at noon with the play-by-play. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. The young Hung Kim will go for Colorado. These two could provide some fireworks as Pujols will lead it off this inning, and Helton was left on deck, so he'll lead it off in the 7th. Big double play that time, Al.
Big double play, and she said Carpenter keeps on making pitches. It's not, vintage Cy Young style Carpenter we saw last year, but he's still awfully good.
First pitch to Albert was a strike.
Sign of a great pitcher is when they can win when they don't have their good stuff.
Got a 1-1 strike on Pujols, who was deviled, scored a run. It was back in the first. He grounds this one left side. Clint Barmas, the shortstop, takes it, and Albert is 1 for 3.
Dog made a good pitch there. Haven't seen him pitch this well for a long time.
You go back to 2003. Here you go. You got a left-handed batter digging in Edmonds. A .320 batting average, 8 home runs, 60 innings. Pitched to left-handed hitters in 2003. 04 a little bit better. He was at .282. 05 a .340 average he allowed to left-handed batters.
Yeah, this year he came in at .321. Jimmy got the RBI in the first after a Pujols double, and just 2 hits since then. There were 3 hits in the first game, but Rodriguez bounced into a double play.
And Jimmy pops it foul out of play. The Cardinals center fielder is 8 for 19 with his RBI base hit back in the first against Fogg.
Remember in spring training when Jim Edmonds said he got too pull conscious? Looks like a lot of teams didn't believed him. He said he was going to rectify it by going back to the opposite field, but most of the time they pitch him away. And that's when he used to take that ball and drive it out into left center, and he had the ability to hit it out of the ballpark.
Talking about the issues of this lineup. Of course, you're not going to get many issues with Albert Pujols. We've already seen, though, that number 2 spot in the lineup has been a sore spot for Tony La Russa. And tonight, the bottom of the order, you've got Molina, who has struggled, Aaron Miles, who has split time with Hector Luna, but there are some question marks with this offense as Edmonds lifts it out to Matt Holliday in left. There's 2 down.
That was not the type of pitch away that we're talking about. He would drive the ball. That was inside, kind of drop the back elbow, get that uppercut. He goes and just kind of a harmless fly ball to the opposite field.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC. Here's Scott Rowland. Fly to center, deep first time up. It's also fly to right. Now Fogg steps off the mound. Signed with the Rockies this last off season. He's also looking at San Francisco and Cincinnati. And a pitcher decided to go with Colorado. Two outs, nobody on. 1 strike on the Cardinal third baseman, Scott Rowland.
Fogg has faced 24 batters here tonight. 14 times he got first pitch strikes.
Pitch number 78 from Fogg is pulled foul. Carpenter is 23 of 29 as Rowland checks his bat.
Kind of touched on that when it was like 8 for 8, that getting first pitch strikes, but then giving the advantage back to the Rockies.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little surprised how well Rowland has played. I just didn't think, with all the time that he missed last year, that he'd be able to come back out and maybe be tentative with that shoulder, and he hasn't been that way one bit. Down the right field line, may drop, and the catch is made. Terrific play by Todd Helton. That is just an outstanding play by the Rockies first baseman over the shoulder in foul territory in a new ballpark, and Helton comes up with it. Great play from Todd Helton. Way to check out Cardinals baseball is through the newly renovated Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark. Couple of packages to choose from. Check them out at HiltonSt.Louis.com. 1-1 game, and here is Todd Helton. The first pitch is taken low and away. We're talking about Scott Rowland. I said I was surprised to see him play as well as he has. And when I say that, Al, I'm meaning more offensively than defensively, as that's hit out of play. But you're not too surprised.
Well, I mean, I think when you said he may be tentative or something, the psychology of an athlete is when you have something that's broke, you go to an expert, and the Cardinals got the greatest doctors in the world. They fix it, and then in your mind, you come to grips with it, and you never worry about it again. That's how athletes are. You know, if something's broke, they get it fixed, and then they move right on, and they don't worry. When you worry is when you keep on hurting yourself.
See, frustrated there, Todd Helton, his reaction after missing that last pitch as he fouled it back. He walked his last time up. Only time in this series he's been on base. Still trying to get back to 100%. He lost 15 pounds. Carpenter here now 2-2 on Helton. He lost 15 pounds. Scott Rowland lost about 10. His sickness. Curveball, got him. Freezes Todd Helton with a nasty pitch. Number 5 on the night for Chris Carpenter. That's our Hardy's hot pitch of the game.
Got a outstanding hitter up there. You've thrown an assortment to him, and then all of a sudden you change him with the curveball right at the knees. You fool him. And he knew it.
Now it's Atkins. He looks at strike one. The 1-1 pitch. Hit left side and foul. Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan have been together since 1983. And of course, Dave Duncan has been with Cy Young Award winners as a catcher, his playing days, and now as a coach. And think about this. The two have been together for all but 238 of Tony La Russa's regular season wins. How about that?
Well, I mean, they also go back into their early playing days as big bonus babies for the Kansas City A's.
First met back in 1963. It was at the end of the 1982 season when Tony La Russa approached that man who was then the pitching coach of the Seattle Mariners. And Dave Duncan was in a squabble over his contract in Seattle, over $5,000. And Tony approached him and said, "Why don't you join us?"
What year did you
together
say
ever since?
That was in 83 or 82, that winner?
Right.
Over 5,000? Well, just think how many more pennants and world championships the Cardinals would have if it wasn't a $5,000 squabble over Steve Carlton.
Sure. Well hit out to right center off the bat of Holliday. Has a chance to leave the park, and it's gone. Colorado on top, 2-1. An opposite field home run. Matt Holliday, and he is just killing the Cardinals. It's now 2-1 Rockies.
Well, and he's back at 500. The only difference is he has 5 home runs now. 500 average in his career against the Cardinals with 5 home runs. He hit 2 last night. And there you go. That ball up out over the plate. This guy is locked in. He's hot, hitting the ball. I think he's a low ball hitter, but that ball just wasn't far enough in, wasn't far enough away. And he took it to the opposite field. Right there, you know, I mean, it's just thigh high, belt high.
And it's a lead for the Rockies, 2-1 here in the 7th.
So Carpenter is up to 109 pitches, or 110. but he definitely wanted to get through this 7th inning with a 1-1 game. It's 2-1, but that's the first earned run of the game.
He's due up 4th for the Cardinals. Their half of the 7th. It's now 2-1 Rockies. A swing and a miss and a strikeout, 2 in the inning. Number 6 on the night for Carpenter. But the home run as we head to break. The second hit of the night for Holliday. An opposite field shot. 2-1 Rockies. Larry Bigby will lead it off. He was robbed of a base hit last time up by Todd Helton. 2-1 Rockies. Josh Fogg pitching very well against St. Louis. Cardinals with just 5 hits tonight. Larry Bigby is 0 for 2. Spencer Jordan is tonight's merchandise winner. The Hyundai long drive inning sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Spencer Jordan qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Cardinals have Adam Wainwright getting loose in the bullpen. Al told you, well over 100 pitches now for Chris Carpenter. He is due up 4th in this inning. Bigby is 0 for 3. Here's Yadier Molina, 1 for 2 with a double tonight. This one high in the air to deep left field. Did he get enough? It's at the wall, and the catch is made by Holliday. Yadier almost tied it up.
Holliday looks like he's got a wad of tobacco in his mouth, and good way to run into the wall and swallow some of that, but Pop-Tart up there, up against the wall, and hauls it in. The second out of the inning.
They're in the 8th, 11-3 Boston on top of the Yankees. Giambi with a home run in that game. Loretta's 3 for 5. Ramirez 2 for 4. Josh Beckett 7 innings in that game. There's a base hit, second of the night for Aaron Miles. That's going to be it for Carpenter as they'll pull him back and use a pinch hitter. So 2-out base hit for Miles. He's 2 for 3.
Hector Luna. Luna will hit here. Luna is 2 for 4 facing Josh Fogg.
Well, the Mets get a 2-run home run by Nady in the 8th, 2-run shot by Delgado in the 9th, and they tie the game up against the Phillies 4-4. Philadelphia, one of the hottest teams in baseball. Atlanta leading Florida 8-1. That's in the bottom of the 6th. Danny Herron pitching for Oakland tonight, 7 1/3. In the bottom of the 8th on top of Toronto, 6-3. Cleveland leading Kansas City 4-2. Minnesota over Texas 10-3. That's in the bottom of the 5th. And the Chicago White Sox all over the Angels in the bottom of the 5th. That's 7-1. Jim Thome with another home run. So here is Hector Luna. Luna on the first pitch pops it up. Taken by the second baseman Jamie Carroll. So Luna doesn't waste any time. 1 pitch off the bench. The Cardinals leave a man. The fans thought he got it all. Just a little bit short. Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Our call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chevrolet. Adam Wainwright, 6'7", 205-pounder. Out of Brunswick, Georgia, will take over for the Cardinals. And his 11th appearance the season in relief of Chris Carpenter, who went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs, 4 hits, walked 6 tonight. struck out 6 and allowed that home run to Matt Holliday. The difference in this game is 2-1 Colorado. Bottom of the order, this is Clint Barmas.
You know, everyone has been so impressed with Adam Wainwright and the way he's thrown early in the season. But you got to understand that he is a weapon coming out of the bullpen right now. Even though, you know, he may evolve into the starting rotation next year or so, his best chance to help this Cardinal team is as a reliever.
Curveball is lifted out to right field. The catch is made by John Rodriguez.
And
we're back here tomorrow, 11:30 with the pregame show, noon with the first pitch. Jeff Suppan on the mound for the Cardinals tomorrow afternoon as we'll finish up this series. St. Louis and Colorado, game number 3 on FSN.
And Dan, one of the things people don't realize is you know, what you're seeing right now is a guy going max out, but he couldn't do this as a starter the way he's pitching right now.
You think about it, Al, all but 2 of his pitching appearances in the minors have been starts.
Right. You know, but you see how aggressive he is and how he attacks hitters. He couldn't do that over as a starter and throw 100 pitches. You know, he can do it for a couple innings and really help this team win.
There's 2 away. Cardinal fans, are you always traveling and missing games? Well, you can watch the Cardinals games live online whenever you are away from home, exclusively from MLB.tv. STLCardinals.com has more live games than anyone else. STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on.
And as a starter, you know, he would adjust to this. This is Freeman.
Chu Freeman.
I met him yesterday for the first time.
Chu is hitting .265. CH-00 Freeman. Another one of those homegrown talents of the Colorado Rockies. Finally made it to the major leagues. Here's the 0-1 pitch.
He's an outfielder. He's played left and center. He's hit safely in 5 of his 6 starts this year. But he leads the team with 3 pinch hits, and he's hit safely in 3 of his last 6 pinch hitting ABs.
Let me ask you this. A lot of people will talk about Wainwright in the bullpen even expanding his role, closer, at some point maybe in his career. Of course, not this season, and not while Isringhausen is here, but throws mid-90s, good curveball, and dominating stuff he's shown so far in this 2006 campaign. 1, 2, 3 go the Rockies. Bottom of the 8th is coming up. Our Who's Raising the Bar question tonight brought to you by Singular. Which rules should be changed throughout Major League Baseball? You voted to 42957 on your Singular wireless. And the answer is the DH. What would Hal McRae think about that?
Since he can't hit anymore.
All right, Hal McRae 20 years ago.
He'd be upset.
Yeah. Jose Mesa, we saw him last night. 19th appearance, 1.08 ERA, and he's a big reason why this Rockies team has turned things around. This bullpen is much improved over the last 3 seasons.
He allowed just his 2nd run in the season last night and the 1st on the road. Nearly 40 years of age, over 900 major league appearances.
Over 300 saves.
And they are raved about what a job he has done instructing and helping some of the young pitchers down there in the bullpen, but more importantly when he's standing on the mound.
Cardinals got to get something going now. Here in the bottom of the 8th, it's 2-1 in favor of Colorado. David Eckstein has walked tonight. He has singled and he flied to center. The difference in this game, a Matt Holliday opposite field home run off of Chris Carpenter. Carpenter went 7 innings. Josh Fogg 7 innings. This offense has gone south after what we saw over the weekend against the Marlins. They just tore up the Florida Marlins.
But you would normally think that a Florida Marlins pitching staff would be better than a Colorado Rocky, but it's completely the opposite this year.
The 2-1 pitch, rip fair, and past the third baseman into left field, and David Eckstein is aboard.
Another multi-hit game for David, his second single, and on base 3 times. There you got that debate about guarding the line. David, the kind of guy that sprays the ball around a little bit, singles hitter, so you're trying to take away a double, but you give a lot more singles when you guard the line, and it's a start for the Cardinals. Encarnacion, doesn't he have some success against Mesa?
9 for 14, that includes a hit last night.
Exactly.
John Rodriguez being pinch hit for. Pujols is on deck.
John lost his 8-game hitting streak tonight, taking an 0 for 3.
Hold at first, near the line at third base. So Encarnacion picked up a base hit last night between short and third, and they've given him a hit lane right there.
How about the second baseman and shortstop playing so near the bag and big gaps left and right? Ground ball through the right side, ground ball to the left side, vacated shortstop area.
Juan with 4 home runs on the season. A check swing did not go around. 2 balls and no strikes. See where Garrett Atkins, the third baseman, is positioned on the line.
But I mean, if he hits anything on the left side, it's going to be very difficult for them to either get a force play at second on Eckstein, or base hit written all over it the way they're playing up the middle of the short and second.
Outfield very deep. 2 balls, no strikes. Encarnacion, a good rip, and fouled it back. 2-1.
He hit the base hit last night, wasn't it, to the left side, but obviously the charts must dictate, off of Mesa at least, he hits the ball up the middle for the second and short. 2 balls, 1 strike. Pretty much been hard stuff all the way. It's like fastball away.
Down at 2 balls, 1 strike. Juan Encarnacion, you see, against Mesa, 643. Pujols, 545. And Edmonds, 2 for 10.
Let's do it with the next 2.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Encarnacion. Up the middle, off of Mesa, and everybody's safe.
Well, they had him defense right up the middle.
They sure did.
But they forgot to tell the big guy to move his foot.
Al, I'm not sure if that caught his foot or the rubber.
Well, whatever it did, it sent it high into the air. Jamie Carroll, the second baseman, just waiting for it to come down. Eckstein didn't want to run into an out. He's safe. And look at the monsters up.
A righty and a lefty has been getting loose in that Colorado Rockies bullpen. Now they're going to check on Mesa. Clint Hurdle, along with the trainer for the Rockies, is out.
Well, he's good. Hurdle's going right to Joe West. Trainer checking on Mesa. Let's watch this. Right back up the middle.
Right off his toe.
Right off his toe, up his leg. And now the home plate, all the umpires. So something here. Clint Hurdle has piqued the interest of Joe West, and he's got all the umpires huddling to make a decision.
How about if it never hit the ground, off his toe, and the catch was made?
Good point. You're right about that. But I think the first and third base umpires are ones that are probably going to have to make that determination, whether did it go straight off the toe or did it kind of just go up the leg. And I think they're saying they don't know. They can't tell.
That thing was a rocket. I mean, we can slow it here on our with our television crew, but I mean, that thing's a rocket. With the naked eye, it's tough to tell.
Yeah. So right back up the middle, what Clint Hurdle is saying, and I think he hits the dirt and goes up in the air, up his leg. What he was trying to say, it's a fly ball, but I think the umpire said they really couldn't tell, so they can't say something that they don't know. I think it hit the dirt. You see the dirt right there jumping up right in front of the contact of the leg.
And then his toe or his foot was enough to pop it up.
So right in front of it, and then up the foot in the air. I don't blame Clint Hurdle.
Why not?
Try something.
You got this guy digging in. Runners in scoring position now for Pujols. First and second, nobody out. Cardinals down 2-1.
Leads the National League in game-winning hits. Will he get another?
Albert sitting on 16 home runs. Off-speed pitch taken for a ball, up and away. Looking ahead now, the Rockies do have a left-hander getting loose. It is not Ray King in their bullpen. Of course, they've got closer Fuentes, a left-hander, and the left-handed Jim Edmonds is on deck.
Got Tom Martin down there also, another lefty.
Here's a 1-0. Ooh, Albert got a pitch to hit, and he was trying to lose it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Albert is off to a tremendous start, but in these type situations, he has 6 game-winning hits in the team's last 11 wins and 8 on the season, first in the major leagues.
Mesa and Pujols with the game on the line here. Crowd comes alive. They're on their feet. Here's a 1-1. Oh, another vicious rip by Pujols.
You're not going to scare Mesa up there, but this is one of those classics, a 300 save guy against arguably the best hitter in baseball right now.
Now Isringhausen getting loose for the Cardinals in their bullpen.
Albert, the major league leader in home runs, RBIs, slugging percentage, #1 in runs scored, 2nd in base on balls. Stepped off.
This has been the most the crowd has been into it last night and again tonight. 6 of 16 home runs with 2 strikes. How about that? So here we go. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Albert. A check swing. No appeal. He did not go around. 2-2. Albert shaking his head up there. Almost trying to calm himself down a little bit in this pressure situation. Inning started with a base hit by Eckstein. Encarnacion with a single. And now the 2-2 pitch to Albert Pujols. Outside, full count.
1-run game, 3-2 pitch. And can you afford to throw a secondary pitch, an off-speed pitch that is tough to control? And we started this game with some of the right field lights out. Albert could knock out the left field lights.
Fans on their feet here at Busch Stadium. Sold out crowd. They've been waiting all night for some positive to happen after the first inning. Here it comes. The 3-2 pitch to Pujols. Runners go. Albert unloads. Left field. Holliday back. Gone. 3-run home run for Albert Pujols. And the Cardinals have the lead here in the 8th.
Simply amazing. 3-2 pitch. Look at how he uses his hands and almost tomahawk that, where he can get on top of high pitches and he can send them over the wall. His 17th home run. His RBI total already up into the 40s at 41. Major league leader in both categories.
Pitching change for Colorado, 4-2 St. Louis. Brought to you by Busch, smooth Busch beer and easy drinking Busch Light. By Chevrolet, see a Mid-America Chevy dealer today. Chevy and American Revolution. And by Advance Auto, we're ready in advance. Sold out crowd, 40,375, and Pujols has just sent him into a frenzy. Now it's Edmonds to the opposite way, and Matt Holliday puts it away for the first out against the new pitcher, left-hander Tom Martin. Enters with an ERA of 5.79. Albert Pujols 398 feet with that home run.
Yeah, Martin has pitched very well on the road this year, but has an ERA over 12 in Coors Field. Veteran, 35 years of age, around 300 appearances in his career.
Now it's Scott Rowland. He is 0 for 3. Fly to center, fly to right, popped out to first. 4-2 Cardinals. As the Redbirds picked up a leadoff hit by Eckstein. Encarnacion with a base hit. And then the Albert Pujols 3-run home run, now with 17 on the season. 41 RBIs.
We always talk about how hitters and pitchers have to make adjustments. Some people can do it, some people can't. I'll show you how Albert can do it in the middle of an at-bat.
Al, I was pointing out the fact that Pujols was frustrated with himself. You could see on a slider as this one is pretty well hit to right center field. That's trouble. Oh, nice catch out there by Brad Hopp on the run. But you could see that Mesa almost got Pujols to chase, and it was a check swing in which he almost was called out on strikes.
Yep, he's saying no, now he'll start talking to himself about being patient. The good thing about RBI situation is the pressure's on the pitcher. It's not on you as a hitter. So you relax and let things happen. And when he makes things happen, they happen in a big way.
Cardinals pull back Larry Bigby, and so Taguchi will be the pinch hitter. Meanwhile, Brad Hopp has just made a terrific play in right to take an extra base hit from Rowland.
You know, a lot of times outfielders will get to a certain point, then they dive. And good ones will wait and take that one extra step and then determine whether they have a chance to dive or need to dive. And Hopp has already shown us that he's a pretty darn good outfielder. Made a sliding catch around the line, the foul line, coming in on a ball, and that one going back.
Taguchi, the pinch hitter for Bigby. Isringhausen has been getting loose in the Cardinal bullpen. 4-2 St. Louis. Cardinals had 7 hits last night, 9 tonight, only 4 for the Rockies. So Taguchi with a base hit. And a fair ball down the right field line. He's thinking 2. And it gets past Hopp and right. And so Taguchi will wind up at second base.
We talked about fundamentally how sound Taguchi is. He hit that ball down in the right field corner. So's been watching Hopp and how well he's played. But he rounded the bag. He was watching and observant. You know, you think 2 until that outfielder stops you. Just by Helton, who's played a great game defensively. But you think 2 leaving the batter's box. And you saw him completely across the base, and then when he saw the ball got underneath the glove of Hopp, he takes off and he goes for 2 and makes it easily.
Albert's in their cheerleader.
Oh, he's the best for his teammates.
So Al, that's a base hit for Taguchi, then E9. So they're going to give hop in air there after he made that very good play on the ball hit by Roland. It's going to be it for Tom Martin. Pitching change coming up for the Rockies.
Coming up after the game on the Midwest Sports Report, Tony La Russa live, reaction from the Cardinal clubhouse, and Mike Claiborne, and your phone calls at 1-888-RING-FOX. We'll see you after the game.
All right, Jim, thank you. New pitcher in, Al, right-hander for the Rockies.
Scott Dolman, you see opponents are batting 160 against him. He has not allowed or been very good on the road, where he shut up the opposition last 6 appearances while allowing just 1 hit and 1 walk. 28 years of age. He's been up and down with Colorado the last couple of years. He was put on the DL March 30th with a viral infection. And he has pitched pretty well out of New Orleans.
Well, after 6 innings of play, the Rockies had left 10 on. And they've left 10 on in this game, and they trail now 4-2. As Molina trying to add some insurance. There's 2 outs and a runner at second base. That's So Taguchi. Molina yanks this one down the left field line, and he's driving the baseball tonight.
Something's gotten into him. Hit a double to left. He hit one up against the wall in left center.
Rockies looking ahead to the 9th will have the top of the order. That means Todd Helton at least one more time. Against Jason Isringhausen, Sullivan, no prior meetings. Jamie Carroll, same thing. Todd Helton 3 for 4 with a homer. Off of Jason Isringhausen, the Cardinals closer. They'll be trying to pick up save number 9.
Anytime you got to go through Todd Helton, you know the Rockies will have a chance. So what can Yadier do? Can he make this more than a 2-run Cardinal lead?
Molina 1 for 3 ahead in the count now. 2 balls and 1 strike against Dolman, who pitched at the University of Louisiana Lafayette. The Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year back in 2000 before he was drafted. Finished up last season going 2-0 with a .66 ERA in his last 13 appearances.
And it jumps at the hitters a little bit, a little deceptive, especially the first time or 2 you see him. Later calls timeout. Now so he's going to come out and talk to Scott.
4-2 Cardinals. If you're just joining us, Albert Pujols with a go-ahead 3-run home run off of Jose Mesa. Give the Cardinals this 4-2 lead. His 17th on the year, now at 41 driven in. 17 and 41, that's some guys' seasons.
What his numbers could be at the All-Star break.
Amazing.
You know, a lot of times you see guys that get off to great starts and you just know in the back of your mind they're not going to sustain it. But with Albert, you never know. He's studying, waiting for the first time he faces Dolman.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Molina broken bat, and Helton makes the catch. Remember back in the 7th, the disappointed reaction with the near home run by Molina. Little different reaction from the crowd tonight. 2 innings later with Albert. Take a look at our game recap. 4-2, top of the 9th. Brought to you by Jack in the Box. We can recap it with one swing. Mr. Albert Pujols, a 3-run homer off of Jose Mesa on a 3-2 pitch. 4-2 Cardinals. And into the ball game now, Jason Isringhausen as So Taguchi takes over in left field for Big B. Encarnacion stays in after his single. He takes over in right. Isringhausen was working for the first time in a week on Saturday as he picked up in pitching the portion of the 8th and the 9th, his 8th save of the season, as he allowed 2 hits against the Marlins, a key double play to end that game. And that's the last time we have seen Isringhausen, was on Saturday night against the Marlins.
So well rested after a couple more days off. See if he'll have command.
Top of the order, Corey Sullivan.
97.
A little misleading, probably. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Wow, where's that pitch?
89.
1 ball, 1 strike.
89 cutter.
Scott rolling in on the grass at third base. Outfielder straight away. The cutter there. Strike 2. They check with the third base umpire. Well, you'd love to see Isringhausen here at home, Al, have an easy 1-2-3 if he could.
Absolutely.
It's been not an easy go, especially here at home.
And now the first time he sees the curveball. Look at Molina saying on the ground.
Got him. Good start for Izzy.
Curveball the first time on the ground, couple fastballs, couple cutters, and now it wasn't the patting it down and in, but it was, I mean, 12-6, but it was still a good one, and it fooled him because he hadn't seen that pitch.
Carroll grounded into a double play first time up. He's walked, he's singled and scored. He's also grounded out.
Sometimes a hitter sits and watches for a little bit and it helps him out. Maybe that time off for Izzy's been good.
Was tap foul. Isringhausen wears that number 44. Made his major league debut in 1995. And he wears that number 44 because he was drafted in the 44th round by the Mets in 1991 as a starter. A Brighton, Illinois native. Grew up a Cardinal fan. Now closing games out for St. Louis.
Curveball once again down. Keep it down.
The 0-2.
Backed up a little bit on him, but left it inside. Comes the cutter.
A ball and 2 strikes. These first 2 hitters are such a key in the inning for Isringhausen's confidence, and the main reason because of the man on deck, Todd Helton, with one swing of the bat could tie it up.
So you retire the first 2 and then you can go right after Helton. Even if he hits it out, he still can't beat you. Getting the first guy, even if Jamie Carroll reached base, Helton couldn't beat you, he could only tie it. Another cutter.
1-2 pitch. Tied him up. And Carroll just got a piece. Sold out crowd of 40,375 here at the new Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Sal Roboski, Dan McLaughlin, our Bud Productions crew. Cardinals trying to split the first 2 games of this series.
Fastball in.
Look how Molina's set up. Gets it in. Goodbye. Strikeout for Izzy. Two strikeouts. Let's go pitch by pitch against Helton earlier tonight.
Okay, fastball. This was Carpenter. Another fastball. Then this pitch. He's tried to throw a couple cutters. He really didn't have much on that. And then another fastball away, but he puts him away with a good curveball right at the knees.
Pitch by pitch brought to you by Chevrolet. First pitch up and in to Todd Helton. Helton has had a tough series. He is 3 for 4 with a home run against Izzy. Tonight, he has struck out, as you just saw. He has popped out to second, light out to left, and he's walked.
This is not the Todd Helton we're accustomed to seeing. Been ill, and right now you better take advantage of it because you may never see this version any time in your career. He's one of the better hitters in all the game.
1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield is straight away. That's strike 2. Crowd now on their feet, 40,000 plus. Isringhausen and the Cardinals a strike away.
A game like this where Albert takes that 3-run home run late. You got this young team here. It could be devastating.
The 1-2. Helton just got a piece. The difference tonight, Albert Pujols with a 3-run home run, 398 feet off of Jose Mesa after the first two had reached. Eckstein and Juan Encarnacion. And that was in the bottom of the 8th. Now it's Isringhausen with 2 outs, nobody on, and a 2-strike count. 1-2 the count on Todd Helton.
Cutter. There's some pitches that are right in his wheelhouse, and just he is not swinging the bat right now, and understandably after being ill and missing so many games. Cincinnati's already lost. This is a pickup day for the Cardinals if they win. The curveball.
The 1-2 pitch. He got him. He strikes out the side, and the Cardinals win it. The save for Isringhausen. 4-2 the final. Pujols the difference maker tonight. Wainwright is 1-0. Mesa 0-1. Isringhausen his 9th save, and Albert Pujols with his 17th home run. Good win for the Cardinals tonight as they split the first 2 of the series against the Rockies. Our play of the game is brought to you by Budweiser. What a shock. It's the home run from Albert Pujols off of Jose Mesa on that 3-2 pitch. A 3-run homer to make it 4-2, and that's how this one comes to a close. For our Bud Productions crew and Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Thanks for being with us. 4-2 the final. Our next telecast tomorrow at 11:30 with the pregame show and the rubber game between the Cardinals and the Colorado Rockies. Midwest Sports Report comes your way now.
Now, your Midwest Sports Report, presented by Busch Light.
Welcome to this Cardinals post-game edition of the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report, the victorious Cardinals post-game edition. I'm Pat Parrish. Jim Hayes and Mike Claiborne of 590 The Fan will answer your calls and emails from Busch Stadium in just a couple of minutes. Plus, Sidney Ponson will be out longer than first thought. Cardinals winning tonight by the final of 4-2. Albert Pujols providing the power, the 3-run shot in the bottom of the 8th to kind of bail out Chris Carpenter, who had a very solid game. He did allow several base runners, but he got out of many jams. And Chris Carpenter goes 7 innings, allows just 2 runs, only 1 earned. His ERA down to 2.21 now, but it was Adam Wainwright who came on in the 8th inning, pitched a perfect 8th, and he gets the win. And then Jason Isringhausen, who you just saw right here on FSN Midwest, comes on in the 9th inning, and he goes 1-2-3, strikes out the side, and so the Colorado Rockies go down at the hands of the Cardinals by the final of 4-2. We'll be taking you back out to Busch Stadium for our player of the game in just a couple of minutes as we continue to break down this effort. And the Cardinals, as I said, take it, and they improve now to 21-13. It's been kind of an up-and-down ride over the last week and a half with some sporadic offense. Tonight they just get enough with the run production as far as Albert Pujols' 17th home run of the year, and that turned out to be the difference as the Cardinals take this one. Matt Holliday had hit a home run in the 7th inning to give Colorado the lead back. Let's go now to Joel Goldberg. He's standing by with Adam Wainwright. He's at Busch Stadium. It's brought to you by Ace Mortgage at the scene. Joel?
Yeah, first Major League win for Adam Wainwright. You get out there and do what you've been doing. How nice does this feel to have your first Major League victory?
It's unbelievable. It's saying earlier, I'm just fortunate to be a part of this team, and on Albert Pujols' team, he bailed us out again. He's the best player probably I've ever seen, maybe ever in baseball. I don't know. He's unbelievable.
I guess nothing surprises you at this point. 3-2 count, Mesa on the mound, Pujols there. He hits the home run. That can't be a shock. At what point do you start thinking, hey, I'm going to get the win out of this?
Well, it crossed my mind right away, but I didn't want to jinx anything, so I just sat down and tried to stay in the same spot I was sitting in. And I knew Izzy would come in and do a great job like he always does, and he did. So we won the game, and Albert's the hero, not me.
And what about yourself? You keep getting in that groove, another 3 that you retire. How good do you feel coming out of the bullpen right now?
I feel good. I'm just so fortunate to be a part of this team. Our team is great. We play hard, and it shows. We got a good thing going here, and just enjoying being up here.
Any family watching back home in Georgia?
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. What's up to everybody if you are?
There you go. Shout out to Georgia. Let's go upstairs. First major league win for Adam Wainwright, guys.
All right, that was great to see, and he again was dominant in the 8th inning. Chris Carpenter lasted 6 innings. He did walk 6. He does not pick up the victory, but the Cardinals do. It's a big victory because Colorado comes into this with a little momentum. Obviously had momentum late. Albert Pujols takes that away.
Well, you know, he's just such a clutch performer, and he comes through all the time. He can make a difference in at-bats. He goes out there on the 3-2 pitch. He's got a couple guys on. He's had some success against Mesa, but you know, he's the guy that rises to the occasion every time he's called upon, and the fans expect so much of him. His teammates expect so much of him, but more importantly, Albert expects so much of himself.
And Al, it's such a key to get those guys on in front. It started with David Eckstein, then the Cardinals pinch hit Rodriguez or Encarnacion for Rodriguez, so that's a difference, obviously. You get the first 2 on, you got a 3-2 count on Albert, nowhere to put him.
You know, we talk about at times this team doesn't have enough offense, and yet you saw today the left-hand bats got a chance to play because Josh Fogg had trouble retiring left-handed batters, but that left a very good bench, especially for a guy like Mesa. Encarnacion just absolutely owns him, and he came through there. But once again, those little table setters, Eckstein goes out there and gets a base hit, extends it all the way.
We talk about momentum. How about for Jason Isringhausen not to be overlooked? Because here at home he was hearing some boos. The crowd wasn't great with him early on as he struggled. He comes into this ball game, strikes out the side, and finishes it with a strikeout of Todd Helton.
Well, I keep on telling you, you know, closer is a different breed. Anybody can start, but very few can close. And it's much more than physical ability. It's between your ears. And the one thing that Jason can do is he can forget about things, good, bad, and different, and just go out there and be ready for the challenge. And he did it here tonight.
So the Cardinals win it 4-2, and we've got, of course, the pregame show tomorrow at 11:30. We send it back to Pat.
Guys, thanks very much. Nice job, and we will see you tomorrow for the pregame show and the broadcast as well as they continue the series against the Rockies. And I'll be back a little later on in this show, Bushlight Midwest Sports Report, for the latest on Barry Bonds. And Delman Young receives his punishment for throwing his bat at an umpire. But now for all the day's Cardinals news, we send it out to Jim Hayes live at Busch Stadium. Jimmy, take it away.
All right, Pat, we'll see you in a bit. There is other news at the ball yard today aside from a 4-1 Cardinals win and the big home run by Albert Pujols. Sidney Ponson placed on the 15-day DL today with a muscle strain in his pitching elbow. Tony La Russa is saying he does not expect Ponson to remain on the DL any longer than the 15 days. The Cards calling up left-hander Tyler Johnson from AAA Memphis. Johnson saying he wasn't expecting the call.
Dr. Paletta said he had an 80% chance of making that start 10 days from now. But here we are in early May. Why do you want to risk that 20%? Why do you have to put the pressure on him to push to get ready when we have off days we can cover and we can, with certainty, what we want to do is get him well, and when we get him back, keep him back. So this allows us plenty of time to make sure he's healthy and sharp before he gets back on the mound.
I was walking out of the field going home, and Dyer comes running out, and he's just like, Shape needs to see you. So I go in there, and he told me I was coming up. I'm sure any situation that he's going to put me in is the right situation. So I'm just going to go out there and wait for the call.
David Eckstein has been the model of durability. Eckstein, the only Cardinal to play in all 34 games this season. If you think Eckstein is looking forward to his first day off, you better think again.
It's one of those things is that if you feel good, you want to go out there and play. You want to try to help the team. But I think Tony does a great job of knowing when a good time to give a day off and stuff. We just gone through a stretch right now where we've had some of the guys out, and you need to be able to play because, you know what I mean, we don't have enough people on the bench.